For the sake of a faster video, I'm going to do the repair first. At the very end of the video, I have a few tips and tricks at the very end, but I'm going to show you the repair first. If your motor mounts look like this, then this is the video for you. Okay, today I'm going to work on motor mounts. 2019 BMW 330i Xdrive. Let's go. All right, so I got the covers off to one of them, because what you want to do is get it up in the air, get it up on jack stands on both sides. Don't let it rely on the jack. My jack is not even on there. I just got it sitting there. Put it on jack stand so these things don't drop down on you. But as you can see, I got one of the covers off there. That's the passenger side cover. And it's right up here. And that's where your motor mount sits, right up inside of this groove right here. See, that's my motor mount right up in there. Now, the thing is that motor mount is pucked out. So usually they say if it's pushed out and it's pucked out, that means that motor mount has failed, because it should be flush straight across. And you got 3 little bolts at the bottom. Let me see if I can get up on here a little further. You got those 3 bolts there. And like I said, to get the cover off, you only need 10 millimeter. And so then you got those 3 bolts on the bottom. You have one on the top, and this thing should come out. All right, I'm gonna kind of see if you can hear it from up here. Hold on for a second, because this is me right here. I'm pressing it like this. That lets me know there's something wrong with that, because you shouldn't be able to hear that squishing in there when you pressing it. I've never done motor mounts on a 330 before, but I'm thinking, because that's a top bolt you got to get to, I think I got to take this wheel off, take the driver's side wheel off, and then you got a bunch of 10 millimeter screws inside of your inner fender well in here. So you got to pull off this inner fender, but you don't have to I think I'm gonna pull the whole thing off just so I don't kink it. Oh, well, you could take off the back and then that's it, because you got a 10 millimeter right up here, and you got one right here that'll separate the back wheel well from the front of the wheel well. Leave the front of the wheel well alone, take the back off. Look at this thing. Look at my boot all busted up here. It's probably about time to replace these shocks too. Damn, look at that. Look at that. This shit is disgusting. That's just, yeah. But yeah, you can get this wheel well off. You can the fender well, you just take those 10 millimeter bolts off. You can get the back off, and then you should get to the very top of that motor mount bolt. But don't forget, you've got to get your engine, lifted a little bit. I do have an engine hoist in my garage, but I think I'm going to just put a block on this jack right here, because I got this is a 3-ton jack. I'm going to put a block on it, raise it up just to get that engine supported a little bit. As the engine supported a little bit, I can get the top bolt out of that motor mount, and then I can get that motor mount out of there, drop the new one in there. Okay, it was a lot more of those little bolts than I thought, because they had some on the underside also, because there was some holding that thing up under there. But as you can see on my motor mount, that's the top bolt tucked down in there. You can see it way down. And let me see if I can hit this real quick. Let me see if I can do like this. Yeah, well, it won't show it too much, but it's down inside of there. Let me hit this flash. Oh, there it is. Bam. So there's the top bolt to your motor mount right there. So once you get the fender well off, you can shoot right through there to get to that top bolt. And we're going to snake that thing out of there. But yeah, and then you got these 3 clips right here. Now these 3 clips that go down the side of your inner fender are these. This what these are, these little clips right here. But what they are is they're punch holes, because these little things are in the center of them. So what it is once you put these back in, you slide these down into the center, and it compresses the back of it to open it up so it stays inside of the body right there. It stays inside of these holes right here. So to get those things out, I use this, like a little Phillips. So what I did is I put the Phillips like this, pushed it straight through, push it straight through, push it through, and I found 2 of them. The third one is somewhere in here. It's like if you look down inside of here, like you'll find them. Hey, found my third one. All it took was a little water ingenuity. This is what I did, because I had to clean it out anyway. So I was spraying all this in here. So I said, well, let me spray down in there. So I got the water hose sprayed down in there, and it fell out back by the back wheel, because all of this stuff goes through here and it comes out down there like a little drain system. I saw it sit. I was like, hey, it came out. So that was it. Okay, so now I got my jack up under there, and I got my wood block on it. It's right to the very back of the engine, right in between the engine and the transmission. So I got it right about there. So, and it's a nice flat piece right around the bottom. So I got it just kind of propped up under there. I pushed it a couple of times just to make sure it was actually lifting the engine evenly, and it started lifting it up. So now I'm gonna hit that bolt first while I got it right there. I'm gonna hit that bolt, and then I'm gonna hit the 3 at the bottom. I'll tell you what Torx bits they are in a second. Okay, what you're gonna use for the bottoms is the E12, and for that one top bolt, you're gonna use the E14, and that's what they look like. They got the little 6 points on them. So make sure you get a 6-point star socket, E12 for the bottoms, E14 for the top, and also get you a long bar, but get you the little angle on there, because you're gonna need this angle to get in there because it's not straight in, and that's for the top. The bottoms you can go straight in, but for this one, you're gonna have to angle it in there. Okay, so I got the top bolt out, as you can see back there. Wait a minute, where are we at? Okay, so my top bolt's out. Let me see if I can shine this down in there. There you go. So the top bolt's out, and there's the bolt right there. I don't have it jacked up yet. It's just like resting right up under the engine to make sure the engine don't move. So now I'm gonna work my 3 at the bottom, and then I'm gonna start lifting the engine up so I can get it off of that right there. Okay, I'm having trouble getting this one off. I mean, look at all that. That's when it busted. Like I was turning it and all this was pouring out of it. That's all the hydraulic fluid that's inside of that motor mount. And I mean, it's locked up in there between the subframe and the motor mount. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna go to the other side, loosen up just the 3 bottom bolts, loosen up the 3 bottom bolts on that other motor mount to see if I can lift this thing up just maybe a 1/4 inch to a 1/2 inch. That way I can just slide this one out. Because I mean, I'm almost there. It wants to come out, but it just won't. Like I said, I was turning it and all this stuff was just pouring out of it. Yeah, that's how you know this one was the bad one. After trying to fight to get that thing out, the subframe's gonna have to be lowered. So you got a bolt up under here, and you got one inside of this sleeve right here. I think this is a 3/4. That one's like maybe an 11/16 on back here. They're not the same size. So, but the thing is, you gotta do both sides. Because this subframe right here, it won't budge. This whole subframe won't budge unless you also do the other side. So I'm gonna go ahead and do both of these damn motor mounts, because it makes no sense to loosen up all of this stuff on both sides and only do one. So I'm gonna do both motor mounts at the same time. Like I said, this is a 3/4 inside of this sleeve here. And this is the one it is right here. It's 3/4. And the other one is smaller. I think the other one I got still locked up in here. Yeah, I still got it sitting up in there so the subframe just don't drop down. So I got it on the last few threads. But that one's probably like an 11/16. That one's a 3/4 right inside of here. Now, even though I got these out already, I'm gonna start this video out kind of backwards. I'm gonna tell you that the subframe does have to be lowered on my car. Without the subframe being lowered, there's no way I could get these off. So let me show you how to lower your subframe. You're gonna have this bolt in the back of your subframe right here. That's one. You're gonna have the second one is up inside of this sleeve right here. That'll be number 2. Let me show you right there. That inside of this sleeve right here. This is number 2. Because like I said, that's number 1 on the back end. Then you go up, that's number 2 right here. And number 3, you're gonna have to take off this little bottom piece right here. This bottom piece is only 1, 2, 3 bolts. And then you got the bolts up on the underside. These are all the bolts you're gonna have to take off. Well, screws rather. These are all the screws you gotta take off. And when you take those off, now you can get up under, and there's a bolt all the way up in here. Let me see if I can scoot over some. Where is it at? Yep. So that's the bolt all the way up in there. There, that one, and that's the very front of your subframe. So those 3 bolts on each side, and you can get enough play for the driver's side will drop straight out. So like I said, you don't have to mess with the exhaust or nothing. The driver's side motor mount, once you get it loose, it'll slide right out in that big gap right there. So it'll come out, slide in the gap. It'll be pretty good. But on driver's side, this is passenger side, damn it. Passenger side will come right out. I keep saying driver's side like I'm in Germany or something. Yeah, you know, passenger side will slide right out. That's what that is. Passenger side is easy to get out just by giving you enough play in the subframe. Lower that subframe down a little bit. But driver's side is a nightmare. And I'm gonna tell you right now, I don't recommend this, but I do it because that's what I do. So this is my driver's side over here. Now, they built this huge, you know, subframe compartment around the edge right there. So no matter what I was doing, no matter what I couldn't get it off because it was a huge chunk in the way. So I got my Sawzall and just cut this off. I know everybody's like, you cut your subframe? Trust me, I've been cutting subframes for years. This is probably like the 4th subframe I've cut in my life. The subframe of that big motorcycle you see sitting in my garage, I cut that subframe and rebuilt it myself with something different. But yeah, they built this big lip right around the edge. So I just went like probably about 1 inch down and I just cut across. And then I got my my pry bar a little bit, just a little, and it slid right out. No problem whatsoever. As long as you don't cut where the welds are, you're good. Because the integrity of this subframe is held by these welds right there. It's not too bad. But like I said, I just took like about, a little sliver out of there because I wanted to get it out. I took a sliver out. I kind of filed down a little bit. I don't recommend you doing it. It's what I did because I do subframe work. And it came out perfect, no problem. But like I said, you got the 3 bolts, one here, you got one inside of that sleeve, and you take this piece off here, and then you got that 1 bolt that's way up in there. So those are the 3 bolts you're going to use to get your subframe to move a little bit, and that's that little piece I cut out right there. Finally got both of these motor mounts out. Like I said, passenger side looks pretty good. Driver side, yeah, that thing busted. That's all the fluid and oil from the inside of it. That thing's completely shattered. But it's got, like I said, it's got oil all up under my car and everything up under here. That's nuts. All that oil comes from that motor mount. But right now I gotta go. I got the whole subframe kind of lowered a little bit too. And that's what makes it so complicated. You gotta lower the subframe. So now I gotta go to the store, see who carries these. I wanna put this back together today. I would order it online, but it's gonna take too many days. So this is the piece I told you I cut right here. Because like I said, this was getting in the way. I don't know why the engineers at BMW did that. They built this up and it kept catching. Like I couldn't get the motor mount to go around it. So I said, well, I'm tired of, fidgeting with it, screwing with it. So I just cut it. It's like, ain't no big deal. Okay, the new parts just showed up. This is passenger side over here. I mean, those are the original BMW parts. These are the manufacturer's parts. They got SK on those. And here's the busted one that was driver's side. And there you go, replacing the driver's side. Like I said, all of this fluid, like you can see, like this thing moves around pretty easy like that. I mean, this thing goes up and down, moves around everything. This is sturdy. This ain't going nowhere. And all that fluid in there is all the hydraulic fluid that comes inside of these. So this one, like I said, it busted. And as soon as when I was taking it out, I was turning it over. You see if some will come out. You turn it over like this. And I mean, it was draining all in the parking lot. It was all over my driveway. It was everywhere. But that's, how it looks once these things are busted open. But there's my new ones. Oh yeah, it's time to get these things put on so I can get back on the road again. This one is not busted. I'll throw it on the shelf. I mean, it's decent enough to throw on the shelf, but I mean, it's still, I think it's more worn because like that's got a lot of movement right there. It moves at least about 1/4 of an inch. This moves probably about 1/8 of an inch, doing the same thing. So this is probably on its way out. I'll throw it on the shelf, but I don't think I'll ever use it again. It'll be like an emergency in case that one's bust. Then I'll throw that one on and order a new one, but that one's no good anyways. This one is definitely going out. Look at that. That one's definitely going out. That one's out of here. Okay, I got the driver's side and passenger side motor mounts back on. The passenger side is completely bolted. It's good to go. The driver's side is hard because at the very top, that's that bolt at the top that we had to take out, the very first one that you can get through right to this little hole here. Well, the reason why I was getting to it easier on the broken one, because the broken one was collapsed. So my little assignment, with my little Torx or whatever, it fit straight through that hole and hit there. But because this one is sitting up higher, you can't get there. So I used the 7/16 and I went and I like wrapped around back this way. And I got to the bolt this way. So you can see that little bolt back there. And I got my 7/16 on there. And you can just ratchet that thing on there like that. So, and I got, it's easy to get to. Because like I say, you just wrap your hand back around the strut like this way. You can just keep wrenching up on that. But so far, that's the only issue I've had. I mean, getting this mount in was easy because like I said, I got that little piece right there cut off. So it was easy to get this thing on. And, my subframe is all secured in there because I locked my subframe in first. So once my subframe got locked in, then I started locking my bolts in. I locked my bottom ones in, then I started working on my top ones. Whoops, camera's all over the place. So, and that's, like I said, the only issue I've had so far is that I had to use the 7/16 to get to the top of the driver's side. Other than that, everything's been exactly, you know, streamlined. It's going pretty easy, even with my broke back. Ow. Okay, both motor mounts are back in. I had to remove my pipe right here because I got that top bolt was on the passenger side down there. As you can see it way down here. So I just went straight through the top. I tightened that up. Easy. Like I said, passenger side's easy, super easy. But everything's tightened up over here. I just got to put all my plastic shields back on. I'm gonna start up under the bottom first. Put all my bottom back on first. Just go in reverse. Put all my stuff on and work my way back until what I started with. But basically, that's how you do it. I mean, it's you take it apart. I showed you how to take it apart, reverse everything to put it back on. The only issue I had was, like I said, was getting that straight shot in to that top bolt on driver's side. I couldn't get straight in because the old one was collapsed. So it was easy to get straight to that bolt. This one, because it was all nice and pumped up, I couldn't get straight in there. So I had to wrap around and get through with that 7/16 and ratchet that thing on. I got it as tight as I can, but if you want to get it super tight, you can put Loctite on there, lock it down that way it doesn't shimmy or shake apart. But I got it as tight as I could in there. That thing is pretty secure. It ain't coming apart. Every once in a while, I might go through this whole assignment again, like when I do my struts and everything, and I might check everything again, but that's basically it. That's it. I'm putting all this plastic stuff back together. Should be on the road in about an hour. All right, the beast is back together. I haven't fired her up yet. I'm gonna go in the house and wash my hands. I'm too dirty to get inside of that car. I don't get in that car dirty. Plus, I gotta change clothes because I've been laying all on the ground and everything. So when I come back out, I'm gonna fire her up, take her around the block, see how she sounds. But like I said, the longest part was putting all them plastic pieces back together. Other than that, man, it's pretty simple. It's pretty straightforward. All right, here's the test. Let's see how it sounds. No shaking whatsoever. Usually it shakes real hard in reverse. Let's see reverse. No shaking at all. Woo! At first it was like the car was falling apart, like real hard. This is smooth. It feels just like it did in park. Here's park. Easy. Look, the camera don't even shake. Drive. Smooth. Reverse. Super smooth. Yes. That's what I'm talking about, baby. Hell yeah. I'm not going to drive it yet. I'm going to wash it first. Then I'm going to take it for a drive. But yeah, I mean, it's night and day. Night and day. Now it feels like, you know, a brand new car. Put it in park. I had it in drive, went straight to park. No shaking at all. I'm going to go to reverse again. No shaking at all. It feels just like it is in park. Motor mounts, man, I'm telling you, I went 110,000 miles on stock motor mounts. They say you should switch it out about 60,000. I went 110. Yeah. But there you go. Back in park. Let's call it a day. About to clean it up and take it for a spin. Okay, I'm on the initial test drive right here. Feels good. That little red flickering light, that's up here at the top up here. I don't know what that stuff is, but it flickers everywhere. But yeah, I mean, this thing drives super smooth now. Not that it didn't drive smooth before. It always drove smooth. It was just that park and that reverse was thrown off. But even now, it's just like, I don't hear that much road noise. It's different. It's kind of like, you know, the car is much smoother. Like here's a dip. Here's another dip. It's like it's giving the shocks a chance to work. Because it's almost like it was like, not really bottoming out, but it felt like it was like thudding. Like it was hard. Like this time it feels like the shocks were really working this time. It didn't feel like it was the motor mounts was like letting the engine like clunk on top of it or whatever. But yeah, so this is my initial drive right here. It's about to start storming in a second. So I want to hurry up and get off the road, get back home. But I just wanted to open this thing up and see. Ooh, that little thing can take off. And it just feels like the struts are stronger. I swear it feels like everything's together now. Because with that motor mount being out, man, and like I said, that motor mount was completely blown. It feels like the car is solid now. It just didn't, it felt like, you know, there was a lag in it. As far as like the power went, you could feel the engine shift a little bit or something like that. It was like a weird, like a thud, like a hollow sound somewhere. But now that it's like everything's sitting back on those hydraulic fluids, the motor mount seemed good. It feels like it's a solid car. Even, like I said, the struts even sound better. I think it was all of the engine sitting on top of that mount and it wasn't being supported. It was really loud. That was loud. But this sounds pretty good now. I'm gonna go up here and make this left turn, get ready to head back to the house. I didn't want to drive that far. I'll probably go grab me something from the store real quick. I want to go get me some dinner, make me something to eat tonight. I didn't thaw out those ribs. I wanted to thaw those ribs out, but it's gonna rain anyway. It's like it's storming up there, so forget it. I ain't gonna do no ribs tonight. Nope. Now the repair is probably about, scale of 1 to 10, I would give it a 5. I mean, it's motor mounts. It's a 5. The hardest thing that was just getting that motor mount out driver's side. After I did that, everything was cool. Then after that, the hardest thing was getting all the plastic back together. I just hate putting plastic pieces back together. Maybe I should hire a kid to do that. My son could do that. I'll pay him to do it. But that's the hardest thing, is putting the plastic pieces back together. I mean, you're not going to get that dirty. If your mounts haven't busted yet, you're not going to get that oily. You're going to use a lot of 10 millimeter. You're going to use that E12 and that E14. You might use a pry bar here or there. I mean, it's just easy stuff, So don't think that, oh man, I got to do motor mounts. I got to get my engine, lifted. I don't have an engine lift. Get a jack, a hydraulic jack, get it up under there, lift that thing up to as high as it'll go. You'll know when you're done jacking it up because it'll stop. The motor will just stop. You don't got to keep pressing. No, the motor will stop rising. You'll feel it just, and that's when you know you're at the top. If you still don't have enough space, that means you got to get that subframe a little lower. Once you get that subframe low enough, like I said, drop passenger side, it's going to come out no problem. You got to tweak it, bend it a little bit. It'll scoot right around. It'll drop right out in your hand. Driver's side, that's where I had to make my cut, depending on what subframe you got. I got a screwy subframe. I didn't see any other car with that type of subframe. I think they gave me a 2020 subframe. I got a 19, not 100% sure. I'm just saying I've never seen a subframe like it. So I kind of had to work with it. But once I did my cut, it was easy. Just pop in and out. It was easy. And like I said, I test drove it tonight. Car feels solid, feels strong. It feels a whole lot better. Because my motor mounts must have been down for a long time, because it really drives like the car is together. It drives like a solid unit. And I can tell, because as I'm driving and I'm turning, I'm hitting corners, there is no delayed like thump. Because, it's just the energy of that engine not being hoisted in that mount. You can kind of feel it going over bumps. It will be like an extra like hitch or extra grab or something weird. It's not there no more. You go over the bump and it's it. That's it. You're done. It's like, whoop, you're done. Before I had the mount out, it was kind of like, it was like a little hiccup, like something was kind of weird, and I can tell it was kind of weird. But with the mount being out, it explained everything. And punching it, like I punched it, I was only in comfort, I wasn't in sport. I punched it, and it felt like the motor was ready. It felt like it didn't like sit back or have to sink back. The car like really grabbed and took off. So, motor mounts make a big difference. You don't think it makes that big of a difference. Like you think, oh, it's just about vibration. No, it actually handles that car. It keeps that engine locked into that frame, and it really gives you where that force is supposed to go. All that wasted energy from a bad motor mount with this engine going this way and that way and kind of rocking back and kind of leaning forward. It was a lot of wasted energy. So I just wanted to share that with you at the end of the video instead of at the beginning, because I want you to get the repair. Get into the repair. Get it. A lot of videos do way too much talking in the beginning to where you got to forward through it. I'd rather do the talking at the very end in case you want to hear it. But if you've done the repair is good, the repair is solid, you don't even got to hear this part. This part is like bonus. It's extra. So hopefully you got the repair done. It went pretty easy. I made sure that I went to O'Reilly when I was, taking it apart, and I didn't take the part with me. I went down there and they sold me a part with a post on. I said, no, mine's got a hole in it where a bolt goes into. He was like, no, this is the part here. It wasn't the part. I had to order mine online. So I got them for about $105 for two of them. $105. They came, they were brand new, not used or pulled off another car or anything like that. Like I said, they fit perfectly. Now, when you're mounting them, as you're letting that engine down, because I had mine on a hydraulic jack, as you're letting it down, make sure the top of your mounts are going into the hole. Because if it's not going into the hole, the engine, the brackets are going to sit on top of those mounts and push the mounts down. What you want to do is, as you're lowering it, if you have to get a little hook or something in there to kind of pull it, make sure you get them popped so they go right up into the holes. As soon as you let the bracket down, they slide right up in there. You don't want them they won't automatically do it. I think my passenger side was easy. Passenger side dropped in there easy. driver's side, I kind of had to like pull a little bit from the inside. As I was lowering it, I just got it. It was like hitching. It was sitting right on top of the bracket. So I pulled it and it popped. And then I let the motor all the way down and it slid in perfectly. I just had to get it just a little bit to the edge and it dropped straight down in there. Like I said, I didn't want to talk all this in the video because I hate videos that talk too much. That's just me. I hate repair videos that talk too much. So I'll put this at the end if it's something that you wanted to hear. Not that you have to hear me talk if you wanted to hear me talk. But if you want to see the repair and that's all you want to see, hopefully you saw everything you had to see. You got it in, you got it out, got the new ones in there, drove, everything's fine. But if you can't figure something out, come to the end and I'll tell you all the little hiccups that I had along the way. Hopefully you did a great job. Good luck. Hey, I'm finna go out here and roll. It's tonight.